comes to something like performance psychology, it's very interesting to me as someone who's never been a peak level athlete. I don't mind saying that.
Yes, Derek. Yes.
Yes, there we go. I like it. But so you've worked with some really like elite level athletes. How does performance psychology work?
It's about understanding that if you think about this in sport, so somebody has a talent in their sport, they have a capability, they have a leaning towards it, they have a skill set. And what they do is, and they have an interest, usually they have an interest. And what they do is they develop their skills within that space. So they develop the technical skills of their game or their sport, the fitness skills of their game or their sport, maybe the cohesion skills if it's a team sport. But what's different on the day of competition from the days of training? An audience, a clock, one chance, the M&M, one chance, one opportunity. There's all of these pieces, maybe expectations. There can be history in there. There can be, the consequences. If I kick this point, then we win the game. There's all of these kind of things. And so the piece around, if needing to be able to deliver your physical fitness skills, your technical skills, your tactical strategies under the circumstances of the clock and the audience and the one shot, if that's a feature of sport, or I would stretch that out and say you mentioned quite correctly, performance psychology. So, it could be on the stage, it could be theatre, music, anything like that. Driving tests, it's all the same. If that's going to be a feature, well, then you need to train for that. So there's a sports psychologist called Dr. Terry Orlick, and he says that an athlete hoping to distinguish themselves in competition without first having systematically mentally trained is like hoping God will come down at halftime and turn the game around. And then another psychologist said, but what if God's at another game?
Yes.
So it's understanding that what you're really doing if you're not paying attention to the mental and emotional side of your sport is you're leaving out a key ingredient. Why would you do that? Now, here's the thing. Does everybody need a psychologist in the performance space? No, of course not. But does everybody need to pay attention to their mind, to their emotions? Does everybody need to know how to bounce back from failures, how to build their confidence, how to handle pressure, how to compose the body, how to focus the mind? Yes. How you figure that out is up to you. The psychology piece is just training that maybe the way the physical skills coach will train that side of things.
I remember it's a number of years ago, maybe 20 years ago, which in sport terms is not a long time. And they were talking about these teams were getting, coaches in, psychologists in to talk to the players. And everybody was kind of dismissive of it, thinking, these elite level athletes, they shouldn't need these, psychologists coming in. And what you explained there is, it's kind of going back to, I talked to Brittany Hogan from the Irish rugby team recently, and I asked her about the disappointments, that you mentioned as well, like the idea of, say, walking down that tunnel after a match, after a loss, a big heavy loss, in a big game. How do you feel after it, and how do you carry it through to the next game? That's the kind of the bigger picture. It seems to be really common sense that teams and players and federations would look after their players in that sense, but it seemed to take a long time to get to that point.
I think a lot of it comes from a medical model. So there's a sense when you say, as soon as you say, the ologist. So at the moment, say in the pandemic, it's not necessarily huge party season. So, but if at the time pre-COVID, and once we're in a better space with this, it will happen again when we're out and about. If I'm out and about somewhere and the conversation comes round to, so what do you do?
Mm.
And I say I'm a psychologist, you kind of get the eyes widening a little bit. You'll usually get that. So can you tell me what I'm
Mm.
thinking? Or there's that interest in it.
Mm.
I have this problem. Can I tell you about it? And there's loads of kind of things sort of like that will come up. But that psychologist piece, maybe because it links in some people's minds with psychiatrist,
Mm.
it can bring people to the place of the medical model, which is that, we go to a doctor when there's something wrong.
Mm.
So the thinking before might have been around, well, why would these squads need a psychologist to come in? Is that not indicating that there's something wrong with these players
Yeah.
or these athletes, that there's something missing, something lacking? And of course, it's just not understanding that that's not the case at all. It is simply a piece, to use your expression earlier, of the jigsaw puzzle.
Mm.